Hey. It's your host, Troy Smith. Night Lounge. We got Jason Gregory on the phone. Jason, say what's up.
What's up, everybody?
Had to take it back to round 2 on him, man, because the information he was dropping was so good. We had to keep it going, man. So we went on and we had some technical difficulties going on, maybe because the platform we're using wasn't used to it. So we had to go back to what we know. So we had to zoom it up. You know what I'm saying? So, Jason, we're going to get right back to it because Jason got big things he got to handle because he's a multi-millionaire over there in Europe. Speaking into existence. But look, so Jason is an entrepreneur, business owner, life coach, success coach, business coach, all that stuff, all in one body. And one person who says he's 49, but I still don't believe him at all, period. You know, because even so, it lets you know black don't crack across the world. That's what it sounds like. That's what it sounds like. So look, so we're back onto it, and I wanted to make sure that he take us back real quick to where he was born. He's, you know, about his story in general, to how he got to where he is today, because he is well known for his motivational speaking, but also before his multi-level marketing business that he has, but really setting the narrative straight, where it's not all about just saying, hey, you know, because it's not all about saying, hey, do this, do that. Okay, come to this meeting, and then we just trick you into doing some stuff. But I actually want to show people that they can be set free from the 9-to-5 living, right? Like you felt that, because you must have to talk about that often.
Oh gosh, often, and it's the misconception that people have with our industry, unfortunately, because of the false messages that are out there. But our industry is no different to any other industry. It's work. Yeah, I always say to people, it's network marketing, not no work marketing. You have to do something.
Right. So look, before we get really going into it, let us know right now if you hear us clearly. If there's a delay, as my boy Jason would say, leave a 1 in the comments or 2 or whatever. But look, if you hear any delays that's going on, any double talk, let us know right now so we can, you know, before we get deep into it. We done went like 20 minutes on that last recording, and we couldn't hear nothing nobody was saying. It sounded like we had 2 voices going at the same time. So let us know. So, Jason, so tell us a little bit about your history and your story right quick, man. 'Cause I know you got things you got to do.
Sure. Just to recap, like I said, I was born in the UK, in the West Midlands, a place called Birmingham in the UK. My parents are from the West Indies. My dad's from Jamaica. My mom's from Trinidad. But like I said, I was born in the UK. And as we was talking about earlier on, growing up in the UK in the 70s, because I'm 49 years old. So growing up in the UK in the 70s, we did have our fair share of racism. The N word was common, but there was other variations that we used and other derogatory terms that we used, because when you are a minority in a predominantly area that is not of your ethnicity, you come up.
Not only that though, Jason. Not only that, they can literally tell you, go home.
They can.
Right? I mean, they can say, hey, go home. This is not your land. You're like, you know what? Honestly, it's not. I'm not even from here. Natively from here, all that stuff.
But the crazy thing is though, because the West Indies was part of the British Empire, and so when the guys came over in the 50s in the Windrush, they came over thinking they were coming home because it was their mother country. But you're right. If you're going to strip it right back to basics, then yeah, we're from a completely different continent. However, we assimilated to where we are, and we should be able to rise above whatever challenges we face and see ourselves as valuable. So don't see ourselves as being held back because of a so-called aggression against us because of our race, but we use that as a springboard, not a stumbling block. And I think that sometimes people get to the stage where, and I can understand when people are angry about certain things, but we have to get to a point where we don't hold on to that as a crutch, but we go beyond that, because we can't control that behavior, but we can control our response.
I love how you said it, because I'm a firm believer in that. You can't control how someone else do things, but you can control how you respond to it.
Exactly.
Facts. All right,
exactly.
So go ahead, back to your parents. So you growing up in the 70s, you dealt with the systematic stuff, you know, that goes on.
Yeah. My dad was typical Jamaican, used his reverse psychology. So he thought that if he says, oh, you're not going to do this, you're not going to do that, then it would have the reverse effect, and I will do that to prove him wrong. But
Right.
but unbeknownst to him, and as anybody, when you speak negative into somebody long enough, they can tend to start believing that. And I when I look back, I can see that a lot of my negative self-talk was probably based around an inferiority complex that I felt because I didn't feel good enough. I had a sister that was very academic. Yeah, I mean, my sister could easily read about 20 books in a month. She's just very academic. And so I was not that way. So I got most of my qualifications outside of school, but I ended up at university not realizing that I would ever get there. In fact, when I went to my first lecture, like I was telling you earlier on, the lecturer was standing in front of me speaking. It was going way over my head. And the only thing I could think of was, what am I doing here?
That's all. What am I doing here? Because you felt like you weren't smart enough or what?
I thought I was like a fish out of water. I just felt like this was just way above me and stuff like that. But I had to come to the point to understand that the only way to get good at something is to consistently turn up and to stretch yourself beyond yourself, because no one has ever accomplished anything significant in a comfort zone. And so you have to step out of that. And the mother of all learning is repetition anyway. You do something enough, you'll learn it even if you don't want to. And so, and so over time, I got to the point where I was able to leave the university with a bachelor's degree, which I would have never thought was possible. However, I still did not see myself as successful, even when I went into my area of work, which was IT. And the only reason why I went into IT was because I heard that that was where the money was.
Which everyone said. So that's worldwide then.
That's worldwide.
That's just not in the US and in the projects and someone telling you coming up in the... Do y'all have inner cities in Europe though, first of all? do y'all have the projects?
We do. We got our fair share of ghettos over here. Yeah, we got our fair share of ghetto, yeah.
Ghetto slums, ghetto.
Yeah.
So but are they majority made up of blacks though?
Yeah, in the city areas there are majority black. Yeah.
Yeah, and so do y'all and do you call yourself a European, African European, or are you just European?
Yeah, that's different. You call yourself an African American. We don't call ourselves African European.
What do you call you? Would you just call you just black? Or you're just y'all use black? Just
black. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I know that a lot of people don't know. Sometimes I think when they're speaking to black people, should we call them black? Should we call them colored? Colored is an offensive term to us. We're not colored. We're not colored in. This is our color. I'm black.
So that's the thing over there. So being colored can be offensive in Europe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't class myself as a colored man. I class myself as a black man.
Oh, so look at it with a serious face. Go ahead then, bro. With a serious face, I call myself as a black man. Come on. Okay, so you went in IT and you thought you got in IT because, that was the thing, you thought it was the thing to do. And you found out, heck no, that's not the thing. For you not to be like in academics, you went into IT, which is weird.
Yeah, well, this is the thing. It's like, I mean, I learned what I needed to learn to do my job. I was in business development in IT, so I wasn't an engineer. I would go into companies and look at their value chain and look at what they're trying to do, put solutions together, and then the engineers would come and implement it. But I learned the technology to do my job, but I did not like it. So I was at the stage where, yes, I was making very good money, but when you go to work on a Monday morning and the first thing you do is look at the clock, you know you should be doing something different. That's just a waste of a life.
A waste of, say it again, this a waste of a life, Jay.
It is a waste.
Look at the clock tonight. God dang, it's 9 o'clock. You like, man, when 5 o'clock gonna show up?
Exactly. And that's no way to live our life. I mean, our lives should be filled with possibilities, filled with adventure, filled with fulfillment. And you need to, I love this phrase. I first heard this phrase from a gentleman called Miles Monroe. And he said, when you die, make sure you die empty. You don't want to die full. You want to die empty. You want to empty yourself so much that that you've given that so much value that when you go, you are empty. And if you're living your life that way, where you're just plodding along, just watching the clock, just going through the everyday thing, there's potential in you that you're not even realizing. That means you're full of potential, but you're not releasing it. And the graveyard is they say that the graveyard is the most valuable place on the planet, because that's the place where all the dreams that were never fulfilled, all the companies that were never started, the books that were never written, the projects that were never completed, they're all in the graveyard. simply because of people's mindsets and their mentalities. So if we can get people to think outside of themselves and understand that whatever we do, there is an impact on somebody else that you haven't even met yet. You understand that there is a assignment on your life, and that assignment is to be valuable to somebody else.
So when did you start realizing that you had value? So you went to IT, you looking at work, like the clock, like this is getting old. When did you realize?
When I actually moved from the comfort zone of a corporate job to actually building a business, I knew that when I went into the industry that I needed to develop, because I knew what I wanted. I knew what I wanted to earn, but I didn't have the skill set to earn that. I had the skill set to do my IT job, but now I'm moving into a completely different area, an entrepreneurial area. Yeah. And there's people that come into our industry and they say, yeah, I want to come in and I want to be a 10K earner, a 20K earner, or whatever, a 6 or 7 figure earner. But yet their skill set is not at the place. They haven't got the skill set or the mindset of a 6-figure earner or a 10K earner. And so they want to run before they've even started the training. And so you have to grow. You have to grow, and personal development is the only way to do that. And
but before you go too deep into that, though, go ahead, finish your last thought, though. Before you, for the personal earn, go ahead. I'm sorry to cut you off on that part.
Yeah, because what I'm saying is that everybody does have the ability to develop into those places, but it's a journey, and it starts with personal development, because you have to grow outside of yourself to see the things before you get there. You have to see yourself there before you get there, and you can't be in that place without personal development, because you're always going to be looking at yourself as inadequate or insignificant based on past failures or past negative talk of other people and even yourself. And you have to grow out of that. You have to get out of your own way in order to get to the place where you want to be.
Well, I tell you that because he had to get ready to go in a minute. So this is my thing. When you first, because you've been a wage earner by going to work, trading time for money, right?
Yeah.
And you realize to say, man, this ain't for me. Would someone come to you and say, hey, man, you need to come? Because typically how the multi-level marketing thing works, I don't know how it works in the UK, but when they want to introduce you to someone or introduce you to the new product, they say, hey, come to this meeting. It's like a secret meeting.
Yeah.
Come to the meeting. Don't worry about asking no questions. Just come to it, and your question be answered when you get to the meeting. And you feel like you suckered into stuff.
Yeah.
When did you realize that you got over the whole what people would say about multi-level marketing, and you got introduced to it to where you wanted to motivate yourself to start thinking differently?
When I came to the conclusion that no, you're never going to get 100% of people to buy into what you're doing. You're never going to get 100% of people to say yes. The majority of people are going to say no, and that's not just to multi-level marketing. That's to anything. That you're going to hear more no's than yeses. And then I came to the point where the people that said no, I said to myself, are they going to make sure my kids go through school? Are they going to make sure the food is on the table? Are they going to make sure all these things are going to be taken care of? And so when I came to the conclusion that no, they're not, then all of a sudden their no lacked power over me, because now my future was not dependent on their no or their yes. And so when I do the business now, I don't look to see, is that person going to say yes or is that person going to say no? I look at from the point of view is I'm just going to have a conversation with that person. And if there's a need that that person has that I can fulfill, then I'm going to help them fulfill it. But I can't take them further than they want to go, because a man convinced against his will is of the same opinion still.
And you're a rapper. So not only you motivated speakers, but you're a rapper too. So the thing is, so when you got to the point of doing that though, Jason, we run into a whole lot of trying to talk ourselves into why we should do something. And then we spend a lot of time talking ourselves out why we shouldn't do something. But there's a balance in there. And what people are trying to understand that listen to this show is that not overthinking their ideas. But I want to encourage people not to overthink. And one thing I know about you is that you try to encourage folks not to overthink, but then also understand the why.
I would go one step further, Troy.
Okay.
Yeah. I would say it's not just understand the why, it's understand the desperate why. Because a why will get you started, but a desperate why will make sure you finish. Yeah. And you hear people talk about all the time, understand your why. And that's great, because everybody's going to have a reason why they want to do something. I want to get out of this job because I'm sick and tired of somebody telling me how much I'm worth. That's a why. Yeah. But then when somebody steps out of that and they go into something and then they start working it, and then the the negativity comes back at them. Yeah. And negativity does come from all angles. And sometimes it comes from the people that are the most closest to you that you think should never be negative. But when that comes at you, it's not the why that's going to sustain you now. It's the desperate why that's going to sustain you. Because the desperate why that's going to sustain you. Because the desperate why is the fear of what will happen if I stop. Yeah. Because if I stop, I will not reach my end goal. And my end goal is so strong for me, I cannot afford to stop. Whereas there's other people, when the challenges come their way, the easy road is to stop. And the thing about our industry is it's so easy to get in and it's so easy to get out.
So tell us real quick before you go there, what do you say, first of all, the industry that you're in? Because we always hear your videos where you say the business. So it's like another secret thing, right? The business. What is the business? And then go ahead.
I'm in the wellness industry. That's the sector that I chose to go into. And the reason why I chose to go into that is for a couple of reasons. Number one, first of all, I'm a strong believer in that I was not created by accident. I don't believe in evolution and all the rest of it. I believe in intelligent design. I'm designed intelligently. That means I can tap into a creator that has infinite resources. So I have infinite potential if I tap into the infinite resource. That's what I believe. Yeah. And so I believe that if I can help emancipate somebody in their health, their finances, and their time, then they can fulfill their destiny. Yeah. And that's why I chose the wellness industry. There are many industries within the multi-level marketing industry that you can go into. For me and for my core values and for what I'm about, wellness was a fit. And you have to find your position, because if you don't have a passion for what you do, you will not promote it. Yeah. And so you have to have a passion. The passion why I do what I do is simply initially was because of the results in my family. But then moving forward was because of how I can help other families get results, how I can help other families get better health, better finances, not have to worry about if they're going to have a job at the end of the day. And a lot of times, like especially through this lockdown period, people are beginning to understand why they need to have multiple streams of income, because now that secure job that they had, all of a sudden they couldn't even go into work. All of a sudden they didn't even have 100% of their wage. And now they're thinking, what if this goes? And so now the message of a side project makes more sense to them. Yeah, I don't want anybody to live in the woulda, coulda, shouldas. Yeah, they should understand that they have the ability and the strength to do something now to change not just their life, but it's generational. Mm-hmm. My children go on those power walks with me. They hear me when I'm talking and when I'm motivating others, and those words are staying in them as well. Does that mean we're never going to have challenges? We're going to have challenges. Troy, me and you have spoken, and you know some of the challenges that I've gone through. But I can tell you now, my best content has come through my challenges. Mm-hmm. So you can see as a stepping stone or a stumbling block. I choose to see as a stepping stone, irrespective of what the challenge is, not taken away from people's challenges. Yeah. One of the reasons why people leave not just our industry, but any industry, is because they can deal with the highs, but they can't deal with the lows. Mm-hmm. And I've had the ability now to be able to see the highs and see the lows and still be around. Yeah. Some people will leave you because they can't stay around you when you're going through the lows, but they want to be with you when you're in the highs. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I see those people as temporary people that were in your life for a season, but that season's over. Yeah. But
that season's over. Unfortunately, you can't be here no more.
You can't be here no more.
Yeah. Jason, I see you doing so well for yourself. Unfortunately,
you're not able to be that person any longer. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because that's the thing. You're always going to have people around you when you're successful. Those aren't the people that really you can really see if their value towards you. It's the people that are around you when you're going through your struggles. Mm-hmm. Yeah, those are the people that those are the ones that you want around with you long term. And so I've learned a lot through this, and I'm able to communicate that now to people, because I know everybody's going through their own individual challenges, and it's not easy. Life is not easy, but life will always throw those You guys say curveballs, but like I said in one of my lives this week, just because somebody throws you a curveball doesn't mean you stop swinging.
So you the last person somebody want to get into the multi-level market business with and try to quit. Find out a way to hit them with a, hey, you know, tomato, or you hit them with some type of quote to be like, dang it, I can't quit. You know, but I tell you this, before you get ready to go, man, I want you to say that quote that you mentioned about being motivated or being inspired. You remember that?
I do.
Your call's out, then we're going to head out.
No worries. People go from place to place because they want to be inspired. That's why they go to motivational sessions. They go to this place, they go to that place because they get inspired by that speaker. They get that feel good factor. You know, people want to feel that euphoria when they hear something good because it's an environment that they're in. And while they're in that environment, everybody's thinking the same way. They're inspired. But inspiration will only move you for a moment. But when you leave that environment and then you go out into the real world, into the real challenges, all that stuff that is really hitting your life.
So that make you quit.
Exactly. The stuff that will make you quit. It's not the inspiration that's going to move you. It's the revelation that's going to change you. And that's where we talk about, well, I'm not talking about inspiring. I don't believe I can motivate you. I believe motivation has to come from within. I believe I can inspire you because we're having this conversation and whoever's listening is listening to my voice. But the motivation has to come from you. And when you go out there, when you face that bill that you can't pay, when you face that negative spouse or that negative family member that's trying, that revelation is going to keep you.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that's going to keep you. So if for those of you who are listening to me, if you don't remember anything I say, remember this: inspiration will only move you for a moment, but a revelation will change you for the rest of your life.
And the revelation will help you understand that desperate why.
But Troy,
why in there? The next thing you know, okay, this is why I keep going.
Listen, the desperate why is you cannot get me to stop. In fact, I will defend my dream with passion because I won't stop, because that's how desperate I am. Let me give you an example of a desperate why, and then we'll go, because I know I got to jump onto that webinar. But I want to know this one. You imagine this: it's a Monday, and you've got a child, and the doctor says that your child has just contracted this deadly condition, and it's fatal. Corona. and it's fatal. And in order for your child to survive, you have to get this medication in them by the end of the week. Now, this medication is going to cost you $5,000. At the beginning of the week, you look at your bank account, you got $10 in there. Yeah. But if you don't raise $5,000 by the end of that week, your child is going to die. That is not a why. That's a desperate why.
That's a desperate why need.
You get what I'm saying? Sure. So the actual why is my child is sick, but the desperate why is if I don't do this, my child's gonna die. And so whatever you're building, yes, you gotta have to have the why to get started, but you have to have that desperate why to continue and finish. And many people can't move from the why to the desperate why, which is why they take the easy option, which is to quit.
Well, Jason, tell them how they can find you right quick, man.
You can, a couple of places you can find me. If you want to find me on Facebook, go to www.facebook.com/Jason's-advice. If you want to see what I'm up to in terms of my opportunity, you can go to www.the2%-mindset.com.
Man, well, look, I'm getting in trouble. I don't say this. My mom said you got an awesome voice, man. I knew what happened. You got my mama talking like it. But look, remember, thank you, Jake, for coming out, man. Remember, the true outcome of having a mindset of successful thinking, having an unwavering expectation of successfully achieving a predetermined goal, knowing that the outcome was supposed to happen. And remember, the two most important currencies in life are time and relationships. Time, you got to invest wisely because you can't get it back. Relationships get you place that money can't buy. We got to have Jason back on to talk more in detail because him and I always have great conversations. But next time we won't have so many technical difficulties, though. All right, we holla at y'all.
Thank you, Troy.